tear your kingdom down. Oh Lord. Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. You've been building your kingdom all over this land.
The fire's coming. Are you ready for the fire? Look, we're firemen. Okay. We are firemen!
Got it, Coach.
The heat doesn't bother us. We live in the heat. We train in the heat.
Yeah, let's go.
It tells us that we're ready. We're at home. We're where we're supposed to be.
Brothers and sisters, I need you to get this in your mind, in your spirit, in your heart. You were born to speak life. 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 You were born to speak life into that young man. You were born to speak life into that young lady. You were born to speak life. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. When God spoke, He spoke in the beginning. Everything came to pass because He spoke. He spoke. He spoke. He spoke. He said, "Let there be light," and then there was light. He spoke. He spoke. See, we're in such a transitional spiritual dispensation of time. We need to refocus. We need to realign some things. We need to realign our vision. We need to refocus. We need to realize that greater is He that is within me than he that be in the world. Greater is He. The gates of hell should not prevail. Why? Because God has called you to be a king. God has called you to be a conqueror. God has called you to be a champion. God has called you to be a victorian. See, there are things that's happening all around us to get you and I's attention. The attention to realize that the Christ DNA is on the inside of us. See, we know, we read the scriptures, and a lot of us use a lot of different things as cliches. We say, well, we know the affectionate, fervent prayers of the righteous availeth much. Yes, praying does work. It does work. It does happen. What do you do in the midst of while you're praying? What do you do in the midst after praying? See, there's something that we have not really drawn and zoomed our attention in. We allow negativity from those spirits of those individuals, those spirits that are being used. They're being used through individuals. Y'all gotta excuse me because I'm just a little bit overzealous and passionate about this thing. See, the enemy wants you and I to not see us as winning. The enemy is coming about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he can still kill and destroy. But if we learn to look up toward the hills of heaven, if we realize that we are made in the image and likeness of God. I know what some people will probably say, well, when I'm getting ready to say, but I'll take the hit. Many of you think for the change that happens or that needs to happen is only if you are a Republican, only if you are a Democrat. No. Do you not know who you are? not know that you are made in the image and likeness of God? Now, I know what some people will say. They'll say, are you telling me that I shouldn't vote? I shouldn't get involved? I shouldn't be civically engaged? No, that's not what I'm saying. Because after you vote, what are you doing? After you vote, what are you doing? Some of us, we only choose to do certain things around certain time of the year. Like some of us, we only choose to feed or to give back to the poor or to do charity work only when it's a political campaign time. Or some of us only feed or clothe the sick and clothe the homeless only when it's if it's Thanksgiving, if it's Christmas time, not realizing that there is a homelessness disparity and an unhoused issue 365 days a year. Some of us, we're caught into prestige and we are attached to things. We're attached to being bougie. We're not tied to the movement of change, the movement of liberty, the movement of restoration, the movement of reconciliation. Well, we will walk out past our own front door, our own backyards, and we will go across the equator. We'll go somewhere on the other side of the world, like Guatemala, and we'll see our brother and sister in need right where we walk past them. We won't assist them. And then we put God in a box because we say, well, the power of God only moves across seas. Brothers and sisters, God is not a God. God is not a man of a person of perspective. God's spirit reigns on the just and the unjust. We literally conjure up in our minds and we create borders, we create walls, we create divisions, we create dividers. We will literally ask somebody what their denomination is before it is that we decide if we are going to help them. We'll ask somebody, what member of a church are you a part of, in order for us to decide to determine whether or not if we're going to bless him or her. When the Bible clearly states that if your brother or sister is in need and you have earthly substance, you are to bless them. Earthly substance doesn't always quantify or be specified upon finances. Earthly substance is your ability to serve, your ability to be a resting shoulder of restoration. None of this stuff that does not make absolutely no sense. The stuff that we make up because we're being ill-advised. We're being ill-advised by these entities, and not even taking the time to push the pause button to breathe in and to breathe out and say, wait a minute, why am I treating her that way? Why am I treating him that way? Why do I frown on that brother or that frown on that sister because they are speaking out against about an injustice. Well, you know, I got to say I got to say something about him or her, because you know it just don't take all that, and so now we're trying to dictate how an individual should feel. In the context, in the scripture, the book of Proverbs, there's a duty to speak up for those who don't have a voice. It is a duty for you to love those that don't look like you, those that don't smell like you, those that don't have the hair like you, those that don't have the that are not part of the political party that you are. You have a duty. But what we have done is we have somehow, some way lost the sight of really seeing God for who he really is. The person that you frown upon or look at because they are different, because they're a cultural different, or they handle trauma different, though we don't realize that God has sent angels, but because we're decided in our mind, we've decided in our hearts that we're going to judge or mistreat them, not realizing that those are angels sent by God. You and I entertain angels unaware on a day-to-day basis. Yes. The season that we are in right now, it is so spiritual. The climate is so active. You and I are not even really focusing on the power that we have. When we speak, the words that we use have the ability to either build up or tear down. I'm decreeing and declaring to you that this season that we're going into, that is not just your season, but it is your time. Some of you think that God has forgotten about you, but he hasn't. The pressing that you are or have endured, that press is what's going to create the blessing. That pressing is what's going to create that blessing. And I'm not just talking about a financial blessing. The wisdom, that vision. Some of you have been given visions, you've been given dreams, you've been given certain things, and you haven't quite grasped full hold of it yet. But God said, if you believe me, if you trust that I am orchestrating your steps, You were born for such a time as this. You were born to speak to the ills of mankind. You were born to breathe life in places that were dry. You are born to speak life and life more abundantly. You are born to win. You are born to conquer. You are born to achieve. You were born. You are born. Somebody say, I am born. Look to your neighbor, say, you were born. You were born for a time such as this. You were born to be an instrument, to be a vessel of restoration. You were born to be a vessel of reconciliation. You were born to breathe life. And because you were born for a time such as this, the gates of hell should not prevail. You are the head and not the tail. You will win. This is your time. This is the season of kingdom takeover.
Gonna tear your kingdom down, oh Lord. Satan, we're gonna tear your kingdom down. You've been building your kingdom all over this land. So right, Satan. See, I heard the preachers are gonna preach your kingdom.